everybody? This is the Washington Wrestling Rankings podcast, back again with another one of those block rockin' beats. I'm Matt. He is Sam Otto. Sam, I've been sneezing all day. Don't know why, but I've been sneezing my soul apart all day long. But we got a wonderful guest coming on here today, Sam, our first female guest. Can you tell the crowd a little bit about her?
Yeah, what a pleasure, man. Likewise, I don't know what's going on in the air out here, but the same thing's going on with me. Last week we were talking about the weather and how nice it was, and then boom, the allergies just start kicking in, and it's that time of year. It's all right. We're gonna just roll right into this podcast and bring London on and enjoy talking to her. But yeah, London, Houston, man, what a pleasure it is to have her on. It's somebody that we wanted to have on like really bad from the jump. Somebody we talked about when we were, starting this podcast and talking about people that we wanted to have on. And yeah, like you said, first female guest and first college wrestler as well too. So super excited.
I'm already getting poo-pooed in the comments about my football jersey. I mean, geez, I'm a Seahawks fan. Okay, the NFL schedule release is coming on tomorrow. I'm getting psyched. I'm getting pumped. But all right. I got it noted. No more football jerseys. Okay, but we'll bring on London. London, you're here on the podcast. How are you doing today? You're in your car.
Yeah, I'm in my car.
She's the first car podcast, first female, also our first college athlete. So welcome to the podcast. I really appreciate you joining us. But like Sam had said, I mean, you're pretty decorated. You're a junior, North Central College, two-time state champion, Fargo national champion, Pan Am champion in 2021, 2023 Pan Am runner-up, two-time college All-American, two-time world team trial runner-up. I mean, geez, what haven't you done, London? Three times. Geez, Sam got that wrong.
Sorry.
we're gonna have to cancel this guy out of here. But geez, London, you're pretty. I mean, it's been a wild career for you, and I would just like to say, man, we really appreciate you coming on, and you're highly decorated. And can you speak a little bit on your successes? I mean, where have you been in your life? Just kind of talk about it here.
I mean, you guys knew my record better than I did. You were saying that, I was like, oh, okay, I did that. Yeah. I mean, I started when I was in 6th grade. Like, I didn't start club wrestling until probably 8th grade, and that's really where I took off. So, I mean, I've been at Mad Demon my whole career, and I don't know, I started rough. It was a rough start for me. I was just like this little scrawny girl wrestling with the boys. The boys would just beat me up. And then slowly I just, got some ground and found my bearings. So, I mean, that led me here. I just graduated college last weekend. So.
Oh, congratulations. That's awesome.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. So Matt Demon. So that's where you started. You said you started when you were in 8th grade, huh?
Yeah.
Wow. That's a pretty quick rise. I mean, when did you notice? I mean, you started 8th grade. You said you were getting beat up. I mean, when did it click for you where you were like, hey, I'm no longer getting beat up and I'm going to go out there and win a state title? When did that happen in your mind?
I think probably like my freshman summer. I was just in the room every day. Like I went to practice like every single day. I stayed committed. And then it just kind of clicked for me. I don't know. My sophomore year, I just had a really great season. And I think it just like helped me develop so much confidence, like moving forward. So after that, it was like, I don't know. I just felt like I was able to do anything I wanted in life and just succeeded from then on. I mean, I still have struggles, but I definitely feel a lot more confident in my wrestling and what I have to offer. So
Did you have somebody or something that pushed you into the sport? Was there a family member? Was it a coach? Like, how were you just walking around middle school or something like that? And it was all of a sudden like, hey, come wrestle. What was that like?
It's actually a really funny story. My sister, it was like in middle school. I just got in middle school. My sister was like, well, what sport are you going to play? I was like, I'm going to do basketball because she did basketball too. So I was like, we're just going to both play basketball. And she was like, no, go join the boys wrestling team or something. And that's what I did. I literally took her literally. She didn't mean it literally, but I took her literally. And I just went. And since then it's been over. That's all I've been wanting to do. So
what was the first practice like for you then? You just decided, your sisters just said go and do it, and then you just showed up, and then what happened?
a little rough, a little awkward. Like I was one of the only girls on the team. Like women's wrestling wasn't really big at that time, especially in like Washington. So I don't know. I can't quite remember, but I just remember like since I started, I've just had so much fun, especially through middle school, just having fun. Became the captain for the boys team. Like I felt really good at that point. So I mean, ever since then, I just have loved what I do, and I'm excited to move into that more coaching role and help out with other Washington girls. So
Yeah, actually, I wanted to kind of go back to the first times that you started wrestling and you're in a room full of boys. I think, we coach, Sam and I coach, and I've got a couple girls, and I know, I felt really great about it because, after the whole season, you saw they stuck with it, and it was really great. And I know how much that can be a little bit unnerving. It's tough to get used to, but what do you have to say to those girls that maybe were just like you? Hey, I just want to go and try this thing out and see how it goes. Like, what kind of advice you have to for these girls to just stick with it, because you did, and look where you are now. It's pretty incredible.
I'd say just like take it day by day. I remember back when I started, I would come home every single day from practice crying. Like I'd be like, Mom, I can't do this. Like they keep beating me up. Like I'm not made for this. And she just kept saying, go back. Like she would not let me skip a practice. And
It's crazy because that's Sam's story too. Every day, just came home crying. It was crazy. I don't know.
I did a lot of crying too. It's okay.
Yeah, so like stick with it. Like you don't get great overnight. I say you gotta show up every day. You gotta be consistent, and that's how you get great. So I stuck with that, and I mean it worked out.
And I put this comment up here, but Coach Pete De La Rosa said London's the best, from Coach Pete. So yeah, that's so awesome. That's a good comment, and it seems hard to argue that you are the best. So who influenced you early on? Because there wasn't a ton of women out there doing the sport. So did you just gravitate to a lot of men's wrestlers, or were your female athletes? Were there anybody that you looked up to, or?
So I actually looked up to Sally Roberts a lot. She came from the same middle school and high school as me. So like I remember in middle school, 6th grade, she had come to run a practice. And I was like, oh, another woman that wrestles? Like what? So ever since then, we're really good friends now. She's awesome. She's awesome for, growing the sport. I look up to her a lot. There was a few high school wrestlers I looked up to, but I didn't even know about college or world level, Olympic level till I graduated high school. Like I wasn't even looking into colleges, which is crazy. I wasn't even planning on going to college for wrestling. So it's crazy how it pans out in the end.
Yeah, we had another comment on Instagram here from Mia Cienega, or Cienega. She's actually on our team. I should say her name right every time, but I seem to miss it every time. I don't know. I love Mia. You're great, Mia. Sorry, but she said London's leading the way and inspiring us all. That's really great, because it's true. Out here in Washington, you're a really, I mean, obviously everywhere you are, but here everyone seems to know and love you, and that's really awesome. And like I said, we do want to say thank you for coming on to our podcast, and you did help lead the way. But like, I want to touch on this. You said that you didn't know you wanted to wrestle in college.
Yeah.
So I've read a little bit about you. There's a newspaper article, and I think it has a lot to do with COVID. I don't know if that was for you, but can you tell me about what happened during that COVID year that really hit it for you? That I don't know if it took you back a little bit or it was tough to kind of climb forward, but can you speak about that time for you? Because we asked Justice Zuniga, who's a sophomore in high school now, and he's like, yeah, I was in 6th grade. Wasn't that big of a deal, but you were about to win a 3rd state title running, and then having to kind of overcome that into going into college. So how was that time for you?
Yeah, I think it was pretty devastating. I had worked so hard, especially to that 3rd state title, my last, year of high school. I was looking forward to it. We had like little duels for high school, but we had to wear masks. So I ended up just not even competing in the high school season at all. And I just ended up focusing on making a world team, and so I ended up going to Pan Am's that year, and I actually skipped my high school graduation to wrestle at Pan Am's. So that was awesome. I brought my cap and gown after I won. I put that on. I walked around the stage. Like, you know, it was a tough time, but at the same time, I felt like I learned how much I loved the sport and appreciated the people around me. So, I mean, there's always, maybe it was a downfall, but I also gained a lot from it. So, yeah.
That's great. Yeah. So before we get too far, I want to. So where are you at right now? Are you in the Seattle area? Are you in the Fed?
Yeah,
Where are you at?
yeah, I'm in Tacoma right now, but yeah, it's
Okay.
full time. Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. So I saw on Instagram, I'm the one running the account, and I follow you guys pretty close, and especially because we've been talking back and forth a little bit before this podcast. You're like in my algorithm or something, whatever you want to call it, but like you're showing up on my feed, and all of a sudden you're in a snowstorm.
Yeah.
So what happened there?
So I was actually driving home from college after I graduated, and I got stuck in a snowstorm in Montana. I was like stuck in the snow for 8 hours, and I had to wait an extra day before I could leave and come back home. So I mean, that wasn't very fun.
Yeah, when was that? Was like a week ago, or when was that?
Yeah, that was, I got back Thursday, so I think that was Wednesday.
That's crazy. We're in mid-May right now, so
I know.
I'm sorry that happened.
Yeah, they said that was the first time it snowed all year. So I was like, oh, my luck. Of course.
Yeah, I got trapped in a couple snowstorms. That stuff's crazy scary when you know, I don't know how many snowstorms you've been driving through lately, but yeah, especially when you're trying to move home and stuff like that. So yeah, I guess you're right, Sam. Maybe we're getting a little bit ahead of ourselves. My apologies. But, you know, talking about your early career, starting wrestling 8th grade, going in, your family. I mean, obviously your mom, it was Mother's Day recently. She means a lot to you. There's a lot of photos you can find of you and your mom. Can you speak about your mom and her influence? I know she told you just to turn around and stop crying, get back in the room. But, you know, Ronda Rousey talks about her mom being a great influence in her and getting kind of where she was. But, you know, it's nice to hear it from you locally. So how did your mom, you know, inspire you to continue to lace up your boots?
Yeah, so my mom, she was a single mother growing up. There's 5 of us, and she always made sure we had every opportunity we could possibly want. Like, she always showed up for me. You know, if it was a special event, if it was important to me, she showed up. Every middle school duel, she showed up. Like, just having someone that's always in your corner, like win or loss, that's something a lot of people don't have. So, I mean, without her, I don't think I'd be where I am. I don't think I'd be as successful as I am. She's, till this day, she's just my best friend. Like, she just makes sure I'm happy and, you know, supports me with whatever I decide. If I wanted to quit wrestling tomorrow, she would let me, or she wouldn't let me, but she'd support me and she'd back me with whatever decision that, you know, I decided on. So,
but then you got to get right back out there, actually.
Yeah. But, you know, at the end of the day, I know she just wants me to be happy, and, you know, if that means being on the mat or off the mat, she'll support me. So I'm really happy to have her in my life.
Talk about. Go ahead, Matt.
Okay. No, you can. I'll go. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, talk about Matt Damon a little bit too, as well. Like, I know your coach there, Sean Dolly. He's a former Fargo national champion. I know that he means a lot to you. Talk about him a little bit, and was he there when you first started?
Yeah, he was there when I first started. Honestly, that place has been like a second home to me. Like, ever since I stepped in that room, they made me feel like I belonged, and they gave me so much support along the way. I know, like Jess Torres, Sean Dolly, they will help me with whatever I need. They are basically second dads to me, or first dads. They just support me, and, you know, even when I sucked and I was scrawny, and they just knew that I had potential, and they backed me the whole way. So, I mean, to this day, we're really close friends, and we coach together now. So I'm just so glad I chose to go there and take that step to move clubs to go to Mad Demon. So, yeah.
I actually met Jess this year for the first time, and you know, I feel bad now because at the time I'd met him, I didn't know much about him. So it was like I was in his home. He allowed us to go there and train for state. and it was really cool. The mats in there, I mean, they had taken the top one, so we had just the bottom ones, and those ones were all, they, you sunk into them about 3 feet when you had to wrestle in them. But it was great because I had sat and I'd asked him a lot of questions about the business side of running the club there, and the guy was nice enough. I mean, first time I've ever met him, the guy was nice enough to give me almost every question. I mean, answered every question that I had, respectfully about what it takes to run a program that they have ran and have continued to run. And then meanwhile, we're on the way walking out to go to state, and then 35 little kids, ran in there excited as heck to get in there. And I just thought, wow, this is kind of like a dream for us, because I would love to one day do the same for a lot of little kids. And it's just really cool to get that firsthand from him, that he was so nice and inviting to have us in there. And I got to tell you, those coaches are first class, and it's easy to see how somebody can grow in a system like that, because you get them all in there in one environment, one room, and you start to build champions, and you seem to be a part of that. So it was really, really cool. But speak a little bit more about the coaches. I mean, like you said, they're almost first dads. I mean, were you really needing that growing up? Or, was there times where you started to kind of kick these boys' booties a little bit, and they were like, well, that's just London, you guys got to kind of deal with it? Or were you able to go to them as fathers to you and say, hey, that coach to, mentor, or talk about that bridge line between a coach and a mentor effectively?
Yeah, I think like when I was getting beat up by these boys, I look over to them and they say, it's all good. Like, you got it, boost me up, make me feel confident. Yeah, to this day, they're just fathers to me. We have worked on building the women's program, especially. I like how I was one of the first girls to ever be at Mad Demon. So ever since then, when I walk in their room and I see how many like little girls are just excited to wrestle, they're in there. Our program has gotten so big, like that just makes me so proud and happy that we're able to build that and how we're growing the women's wrestling. So I get kind of emotional about it, because it's insane to me that, where we started with a couple girls in the room, and now I walk in and it's like half girls, and they're excited to wrestle, and they're excited to be there, excited to be up on the boys. Like,
Yeah, the women's wrestling scene is growing so fast. I mean, there's statistics out there that I've glanced at. I probably can't repeat them, but I mean, and we know, everybody knows how fast this thing is growing. And, you were a trailblazer for that in our community. And that is just so cool to see. And it's probably really cool for you, like you said, just getting emotional about it, about how it's growing, and especially around here in Washington State, like we talked about, how what we are as a powerhouse in the nation for women's wrestling. You're that, and you're a big, huge part of that, and big reason why we brought you on. Is this a good time, Matt, to transition to college season? What do you think?
Oh yeah, Mia's already got questions in here. I want to get Mia. I'm gonna ask these questions once we get there to you. But trust me, I see you commenting.
Well, let's talk about the college season. This past season is kind of where we want to go next, and we got third in the nation for North Central, and I just kind of want to ask you, how did it go? How did you feel like it went? Did you accomplish your goals? Did you fall short? What was your expectation for the season, and how do you feel like it went?
I think my season went pretty well. Obviously, the end goal is to become a national champ, become national team champs. I mean, I definitely enjoyed this season more than last season. I felt like last season I wrestled 143. That's a little bit of a cut for me, so I wasn't quite enjoying the wrestling part as much. So this year I decided to just bump up and, just be healthy, enjoy it. I feel like every day I walked in the practice room, I had a purpose, instead of like a purpose of cutting weight, but a purpose of enjoying it and, getting better. So, I mean, I had a great season. I lost in the semis pretty badly. I got teched in the semis, but I mean, that happens sometimes. And I came back and I got third place. So all I can say is I'm proud. I mean, I finished strong. I'm proud. I still have another year of eligibility. So, I mean, we keep moving. We keep getting better every day.
I love that. That's a great mindset.
I'd like to get to that too a little bit, but who pushed you in that room? And what are your coaches like there?
My coaches are great. I think they're just very relatable. They all wrestle with us. That's what's awesome. Like a lot of programs, the coaches either don't wrestle, they're a little older, or they just, you don't find that a lot of places. So they're always in the room. Like they'll wrestle probably like 8 times a day. 8 times a day. You're a little older, wrestling 8 times a day. Like
Matt and I are hanging on by a string out here. We're in our mid-30s, but we're still doing it.
For
we're
yourself,
still trying.
Sam. No, I'm trying. I'm in there. We're in there. You know what
we
I
do
mean?
it too.
I actually wrestled Mia this year, one time, which was really awesome. But this is a good point for Mia's question now. She said, what is it like to be coached by Coach Norton? And what was it like for you to wrestle in college versus high school? 2-point question from Mia. Do you know Mia Seneca?
Mia should be
London?
on a podcast right now. What's going on? Why isn't she not in the
We should have brought Mia on
right
here.
Now?
That's yeah. Sorry.
I mean, Coach Norton's great. He's always wrestling with everybody, and he's kind of crazy in the way that he can balance all these girls and recruiting and just the boys program. And like, I'm just like, how do you do that all? So, I mean, I love Joe. He's awesome. I'm really happy that I made the decision to transfer there. I think it was the best thing for me. So, yeah. And then what was the second question?
And then your transition from high school to college. I know we had talked about COVID a little bit, but you had already been wrestling on the national level on your way into college, and then your transfer. So what was that like going from the high school level and just getting into college?
Yeah, I think it was a little difficult of a transition. I definitely think my freshman year of college was like one of the hardest years of my life. And that's just because, high school level is one thing. Once you go to college, it's a whole different room, and they push you a lot harder, and there's a lot more expected of you, I believe. So, I mean, I had a hard transition, but that's not everybody's going to have that same thing. I just battled torn shoulder. I had surgery, like just a lot of injuries flared up. But I just say, like, as long as you take care of yourself and you're willing to work hard, I think anybody could be successful on that college level.
And what taking care of yourself. So what little tidbits of like, would you tell your younger self, like, hey, don't do this, or maybe do this? Do you have something that you can say to these girls maybe on their way to making that transition?
Yeah, I'd say just like listen to your body. I was in a lot of pain. I was hurting, but I wanted to stay tough. I wanted to, make everybody proud. But at the same time, if you feel something's off, like you got to listen to yourself. You got to trust in like your gut. So, I mean, and then also I'd say don't hesitate to get help if you need it. I know like with college athletes, mental health is a big issue now. So I'd say just, especially when you're away from home, like make sure you're finding help, finding friends, making sure you're taking care of your mental, physical health, cognitive health, like everything,
Yeah, for sure. I had a hard time, and I don't know if Matt did either, but I could echo the sentiment. My first year in college was you're not winning state titles anymore. You are one of everybody who's pretty much a state champion, right? And it's just like, it's a kind of a culture shock a little bit. And the workload and going to college and that transition is really tough. And so while we're here though, let me ask you this. So we're talking about North Central College and all that, but let's talk about what made, because you committed to King out of high school and you spent a year there. First of all, talk about your year there, and then let's ask the question following up about your year there. Why did you make the transfer decision to go to North Central?
I just felt like physically, like I had a torn shoulder, I had surgery. Mentally, I was, not great. I was battling a lot of mental health issues, and I just felt like in my heart that it wasn't the right place for me. So my gut instinct was to go to North Central initially. That was like my number one choice, but the money issue swayed me to go with King. And honestly, like, and then that's another advice I give to high schoolers. Like, at some point, money isn't enough. Like, at some point, you got to follow like your heart and your head, and like put aside the money. This is 4 years of your life. Like, you want to spend it like the best you can, and you want to be someone where you're happy. That was my issue. I followed the money, not my happiness. So I just decided, I was like, you know what? I'm going to go for what I want. I'm going to make the switch. And I mean, it worked out. I'm really happy with that. So
Yeah, you don't want any regrets anytime you ever do anything, really, especially when you're trying to achieve that next level. Like, if you're at all looking back at it with any type of regret, it's not worth it.
yeah.
It's really not. I think I found that out a lot in my life, and most people do eventually. But was that the first year that you were able to go into the portal? I know that was a big deal when it started when everybody could allow transferring and not losing your years of eligibility. Was that the very first year? So you jumped on it as soon as you could, or?
I'm honestly not sure when they started doing that. I had not wrestled at like the national tournament because I tore my shoulder that first tournament of the season. And then I wrestled like the first half of the season, and then I couldn't wrestle anymore. So I
Because
think
you were redshirting?
I wasn't redshirting though.
Oh,
I was
okay.
at the national tournament, but my shoulder was just completely torn, and I just wasn't possible in that moment. So I'm not sure when that started though. I'm glad. It gives people opportunity to, make better choices and go after what they want. So.
And that's what I was really trying to get to, because it seems like, for the longest time, it was no option. You went to a school you had to lose a year of eligibility if you felt like it wasn't the right place. So it's great to know that you were able to listen to yourself and be able to make that switch, because it sounds like you're happier about it. And talk about a little bit of that downtime. You separated your shoulder. Is that what you said you did? So you did
My labrum completely.
tore your labrum, and I know, I think, where you put kind of back into that weird place, it's like, well, geez, where, that those negative thoughts, can I still do this? I mean, kind of talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, so I think it was just my freshman year was just a really tough time with that. Had surgery. I had found out my brother had cancer, and I don't know, I was super far away from home. Seattle to Tennessee, it's almost 40 hours. I just felt very alone. So it was very hard to get out of that negative space once I got in it. Gained a lot of weight. Wasn't sure if I could get back on the mat. Once I did get back on the mat, I felt like I was so unsure about myself, and my confidence was gone. But again, I kept that same mindset from when I was younger, like one day at a time. Like, I'm not going to get better overnight. I need to keep pushing. Like, I know it's hard right now. I know I want to cry, but I'm just going to keep pushing. And it worked out. Like, obviously I still have some issues, some injuries, but I feel like I'm stronger mentally than I was before. So
that's a huge thing. I always talk about myself in this podcast. Probably should stop doing it, but I really do feel what you're talking about. When I went into college, and no disrespect to any of my coaches or teammates, I think that they were just in a different headspace than I was, and my career fizzled out because of that. And I probably should have just pulled the trigger and changed the scenery, because that would have been what was best for me. And I totally understand where you're coming from. And then now you're at North Central, and you seem to be happy there. I got another question on the list. It feels like, just popping around on Instagram and stuff, like you got a pretty close friend on the team, Amani Jones, and she's really, really tough. She's a really, really good wrestler. Talk about your relationship with her, and maybe even some of your other training partners there at North Central.
Yeah, so Amani's amazing. Amani, I know she's always going to support, and she's a great friend of mine. She's a little lighter. I think she's like 57 kilograms. So sometimes we'd just roll around a little bit, but obviously I'm a little bigger than her. So we'd spar. She's a great teammate. She's always supporting everybody. I wrestle with Yelena. You guys know Yelena?
Yeah.
3 times.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wrestle with Yelena. She's a great partner. She really challenges me, pushes me. I have a few other, like Serena and Larissa. I kind of just jump around with great. Have such a big team that we can wrestle with everybody. I try to hop in with the coaches as much as possible as well, and that's really pushed me forward. So
was that a big playing factor into your decision to transfer there? Was just the elite level talent that's in the room there?
exactly, yeah. I just felt like I can make a difference, and with all the transfers coming in, we won a national title. You know what I mean? So I mean, I think our junior class made a great difference, and I think with the future years to come, there's going to be a lot of success in that program.
And you mentioned you were up a weight, or more, I would guess maybe more your natural weight, or a weight that wasn't so tough for you to cut to. There's a lot of talk about that across the sport. Classically, I think, somebody just walked by the car and gave you flowers. I don't know who it was, but or where.
My brother's neighbor. Sorry.
Oh, okay. The flowers just entered the chat here, but just
the celebrity down there in Tacoma. Your car's parked on the side of the street. You can just get flowers.
Delivered
listen, to your
this door. Is Tacoma. That's okay, awesome. Lots of things happen in Tacoma. You know what I mean? Getting flowers while parked on the side of the street is probably not one that you would put on the list, but it just happened today. But talk about being at more of your natural weight, I guess you could say, or one that's a little bit closer. There's a lot of wrestlers that I follow on Instagram and on YouTube that are also very closely at their natural weight. You can tell that their ambiance is they're like they're glowing in comparison to the guys you can clearly tell are cutting weight. Do you feel that there are advantages? We're starting to see now that I think there's more advantages to sticking around your more natural weight. Did you feel that way? Because I know cutting weight always sucks, but did you really feel that way? It'd be nice to kind of hear it from the horse's mouth.
I really did feel that way. I mean, last year, like, I was still explosive. I was still wrestling well, but I couldn't go past the first period. Like, my body would be so fatigued and exhausted by like the second period, I would just be gassed. So I just felt like after weigh-ins, I'd probably drink like 3 or 4 Gatorades and not feel hydrated. Like that part sucked, especially second day weigh-ins. So this year I just felt like I was just ready to go. The weigh-ins weren't a problem. I felt less stressed. Like, I was kind of worried about the weight and going up, that I wouldn't be able to handle it. But honestly, I thought to myself, I'm like, I'm powerful, I'm explosive, like I can get underneath people, like just to be confident with that and realize that the weight isn't that big of a deal. If you're a great wrestler, like you can wrestle at any weight, at any division, and be successful. So I try to do.
London, we're the same wrestler, but just in a different body. That's exactly what I went through in college as well. Like, you go up a weight and you feel good. Like a lot of people don't do that. They don't realize, like, like you said, you got to listen to your body and do what needs to be done to be able to wrestle at your best. And the difference between me and you, though, is you made the adjustments and I didn't. So here you are. You're still thriving. Good job.
Yeah, I think a big deal with that too is the belief. I don't think I started wrestling my best until I believed in myself. And I think, like you've mentioned, it's like when you kind of feel that you can compete at that weight, that's when it starts to kind of change for you. When you're down in weight and now you're going up against somebody that's 10 to 15 pounds heavier, and it's like, oh, I can feel you're stronger. I can feel those are just excuses, right? I mean, you're not believing in yourself. And I think that is where that starts to turn, is when it turns in your mind, then your body starts to come along, right? Mind's a powerful thing. And do you feel that way? You started to believe in yourself?
Yeah, I feel like my mindset is just so much stronger. Last year, the last 2 years it's been a little wavered, but I definitely feel like I'm just stronger overall. I'm just mentally tougher, like ready to get on the mat every time. So yeah, I feel good.
Go ahead, Sam.
Yeah, well, I think we can wrap up your college season, and then we're transitioning right into the tough stuff here in London. We went right into women's nationals, right? Like pretty much right after the college tournament, right? A lot of eyes on you. I didn't see the seating, but I imagine you're seated pretty high. And just watching back on some matches with you, I didn't watch any of them live, but just watching back, like you were rolling through that tournament. Tech Fall in the semifinals against a pretty tough gal, and you get to the finals against Jasmine Robinson. Then in the first 30 seconds, you're hitting a blast double, getting a point, going out of bounds, getting a push out, and then all of a sudden something happens. You get a knee injury and or some kind of injury. Can you talk about what happened right there? I know a lot of people want to know. The video doesn't really give us a great angle of what happened, so just give us a little background on what happened there and how that transpired.
So my knee just buckled out. I'm not sure quite what happened. I think she tried to throw me and my foot got stuck in the mat and my knee just buckled outwards. It's still not, I'm still trying to recover from it. Obviously that's really unfortunate. The first match of 3, and it just felt like my dreams got snatched from me again for the 3rd time. But from that, I just learned, I'm like, I gotta stay grateful and proud of myself. It was really hard to, get through that and say I'm proud of myself. I mean, but over time, I'm realizing like it's not what I place, but it's like how I handle myself, how I treat others, how I help the community. So, I mean, I'm so proud of myself.
There was a couple things that stuck out to me post that happening. Was one, you didn't quit. You went right back out there and decided to keep wrestling. A lot of folks would have just said, hey, like, I can't do it, I'm done. And you finished, you got close to finishing the match. You went back out there and started wrestling, which is, to me, is a testament to your character and your drive. And then 2, there was a lot of photos going around social media of you sticking around and coaching, which was super cool. So you got the Matt Demon t-shirt on and you're still giving love to all your teammates. And there's a lot of folks like, that would cower into a corner there, and understandably, right? Like you went through a borderline traumatic experience, right? Your goals were shut down in an instant there. And now you gotta flip the switch like really quick, and you did that. And so I just want to let the viewers know and let the listeners know that the Washington community is watching you, and that is a really, really cool thing that you did to bounce back. And what was it like post that happening? I know it probably wasn't your favorite moment, I guess, like, knowing that your world team dreams were cut short, but what was it like for you in dealing with that after the injury, and how did you feel afterwards, and how did you bounce back?
Yeah, it was really tough. I got brought to the trainer table. They asked me if I wanted to continue. Obviously I want to continue, but couldn't put pressure on it. It was swollen. Asked my coaches and they said, it's up to you. But at the end of the day, I thought, like, where do I want to be in the next couple years? Like, is this match worth it? Like, if I can't wrestle to my full ability, is this next match worth it? And I just said no. Like, it's not. Like, my health and getting ready for next season or what's to come is like way more important than winning this next match and then having to win another one. So, I mean, I'm proud of myself for making a better decision than I would have my freshman year. My freshman year, I would have said, no, I'm going to keep wrestling. And that got me to that point where I needed surgery. So, I mean, I'm just proud of myself. I listened to my body and, took care of myself and put my pride aside and, just took care of myself. So it was tough going back to the hotel room that night, realizing that, like, my dreams were gone. I mean, obviously I still have more dreams to come. There's still more world team trials I can go to, but in that moment I felt like my dreams were just over. But I mean, morning of rest or a night of rest, and I woke up and I was ready to get back out there, help the girls. I'm so proud to see them succeeding and see them so happy after their matches. So, I mean, that made me feel so much better knowing that I can make some kind of impact in some way. Yeah.
And quickly, like, is there a designation for the injury? I mean, do we tear anything, or do we?
My life has been kind of hectic. I haven't had a chance to go get checked out. Oh, but I mean, I've been rehabbing it, trying to get better. So something.
Sorry, London has great and real life perspective, and it shows from Coach P.
Oh,
He's tuned in. Coach P's tuned in right to us right now.
I was
And
about to say the same thing. Like, once again, like making way wiser decisions than I ever made at that age. Like, come on.
well, but this is actually a perfect segue into kind of where London's going, because and your summer plans and stuff, because I think you just, you're an emotional person. Like, I can tell that it matters to you, and I can tell that your career matters. And a lot of people, when they get knocked down, they don't get back up. It just, like you said, a lot of people, this, that, and the other. You happen to have it your way. You battled through adversity a lot, from high school to college, college to next college, injuries to injury, and having another one. And then you can all of a sudden see how you light up when you talked about coaching these girls. And that's exactly what I get. I get that giddiness when you see, when you see one of the kids that you put a lot of effort into, you love these kids, and you see them win, you see them come off the mat. It's like, wow, that's great. And so what are your summer plans right now? Obviously, it seems you're back here, you're back home, you're at home with Matt Demon, so you heavily seem to be involved with coaching. Are you going to stick around? Like, what are we doing this summer?
so I'm actually coaching Team Washington again, junior and 16U girls. So I'll be at all the tournaments, all the camps, just help out at Matt Demon occasionally. Like, I'm just, I'm gonna take care of my body. I'm gonna recover, like get my mind right. Until then, I'm just gonna be coaching and helping out where I can. So.
And where can we see you at camps? You already have those like listed. Like, where are we going to be at here?
Yeah, the next camp I'll be at is a Riverview Bible Camp, down in, I think, Cusick. After that, I'm not sure where the rest of the camps are, but I'm planning on hosting a few camps myself this summer. Just get back to the community. So.
Yeah, that's great, because I know that, as many young women as you can get yourself in front of, it's just like it goes waves of positivity there, and I'm sure that it's going to be something great. So, do we know yet at all? You said you have 1 year of eligibility left. I mean, do we know what's going on there?
Yeah, we just taking it day by day.
Okay, she's keeping it under wraps. And I'm gonna breaking news. No breaking news here. I mean, are we back in the transfer portal? No, just
Never.
No.
Love North Central. I really do love North Central. I have a lot of family things going on right now, so I'm kind of taking it day by day. Trying to stay positive moving forward, and when the time comes, I'll make that decision. Yeah.
Which is cool, because you can see the emotional maturity in you from being, from that COVID, or even in 8th grade, right? You're having to kind of come back, and now it's like, you know what? Instead of rushing to these decisions, let's sit back and let your heart do the talking, let your body tell you what you're doing. And I think that's such a great lesson to learn, because like Sam had mentioned, and like you had mentioned, your freshman years, man, they're really tough. There's nobody out there that probably doesn't feel the exact same. A lot of people don't tell you exactly how to do it. It kind of gets there, and your coaches kind of ask you, hey, do you want a red shirt? What do you want to do? You're like, man, I don't know. I just came off the couch playing video games all the time. Like, I don't know. Like, that's, or at least that's how it seemed like for me, because I was just kind of thrown into it. I was like, man, I don't know. And so now to kind of see that you want to take it slow and not rush to those decisions, I think that's kind of an incredible lesson to kind of, for a lot of these people to understand. It's like, hey, you may have a goal in mind, you may have a dream, but take it slow. 4 years is a long time. We got a lot of time to get there. As long as you're doing it the right way, I think that you can come out on the other end happier, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we talked about, I mean, you're just coming off an injury, and the summer is, as far as, competition goes, is a little bit of a dead period, and you're not really decided on what the short-term future is like. Let's say hypothetically you heal up and you're feeling good about your body. Do you have long-term goals? Is it coaching, or is it competition? Do you want to plug into like an RTC somewhere, or like what does that look like for you?
Again, I'm not quite sure about any of that. I mean, even in middle school, I wasn't planning on wrestling. In high school, I wasn't planning on wrestling in college. So it's like I never really know what's next for me.
Yeah.
I just take it day by day. I mean, if my heart tells me that I want to continue wrestling, then I will. And then I know for a fact that I want to continue coaching. I'm hoping to possibly maybe get a GA position or, start coaching at college level. So
Seems
hopefully,
like the coaching thing is a pretty big passion of yours. It brings a lot to the table for you. What do you like so much about coaching?
I don't know. It just feels so good to like know that I can help somebody else accomplish their dreams. Like wrestling, the sport builds so much confidence and like just teaches you so many like life lessons that you can move forward. So, I mean, if I can help other girls and boys, obtain that, then I'm all for it. Yeah.
One of my favorite things in wrestling is women's wrestling. I mean, I think I've always felt that way just because I think the door has we got another. Oh, I think we know who this is here. Love this girl. So proud of the human being she has become. I think that's your mom. Is that your mom? Okay. That's so cute.
She's right outside the car just waiting.
Yeah, she's like, listen,
honey.
Did you get my flowers live? No, but I remember, women were breaking the doors down back in our day, Sam, right? And it was so cool to see, and now to see it transition into what it is. And then having a daughter myself, my daughter's 10. I talked about this on the last podcast, London, but she told me she quit wrestling. She's 10. And it's like, I wanted to tell her, but I'm not the mom. I feel like it's a little bit different when it comes from me, but I don't want to push her away too much. So I'm going to let her kind of feel it out. But she was like, in my opinion, she was doing really good. And I just think, the more community we have around these women, it helps to show them that it's absolutely possible. Right now we're still battling with numbers at the high school that I coach at. And I would tell you for no other reason than we're just not getting, maybe they're too nervous to try it out, and to know that they're doing good. What do you think we could be doing better to kind of broaden that spectrum so that we get more of these females out there just trying it out? What do you think we could be doing better?
I think just like not just Washington State, but everywhere just needs more female coaches. Like male coaches are great, but also it's like amazing to have a female you up to and know that they did it, so I can do it too. So I mean, there's so many great wrestlers out here. I hope that all these great wrestlers become coaches and help the next generation. But I mean, I think any little girl would be excited to see someone, somewhere where they want to get. So
yeah, I agree with that 100%. And I think that it's these summer camps that you're trying to do and then like to see the reality happen. Here's Coach Pete again. She coaches with such a caring heart. People don't care how much you know until they know how much they care. And that's the way you coach. That's so sweet, Coach Pete. That's nice. So, London, we're going to get into the back half of this podcast here. So maybe some fun questions just to kind of lighten the mood on the way out. We're 48 minutes in. I can't believe it. Every single time we get almost an hour in and it's like, wow, we just started. But this is a good question. I didn't get a chance to ask these earlier. I wanted to know, but freestyle or folk style?
Oh, that is an easy question. Freestyle all the way. Folk style is... I don't like folk style.
So elaborate though. We're not gonna let you get off that easy. What is it?
It's just the top and bottom, like standing up, cut away. Like it's not fun. Like I like freestyle. It's so high pace. Like it's just so much fun compared to folk style. Folk style is just so slow sometimes.
I feel, weirdly enough, I feel that way about freestyle sometimes. Like that's the way I feel. Like I think
it's such a hot topic right now too. Like if you're scrolling around on reels and stuff, like Chael Sonnen and Bo Nickel like recently have both said like folk style is elite and it's the best, and then you get flip side of that, Johnny DeJulius, some other folks that we know are the complete opposite, and it's just like it's like this MJ versus LeBron conversation that everybody's having right now. And I'm on your side, London. I loved freestyle. And it was partly because I grew up with it a little bit more, but I feel like the athletes just pop a little bit more when it comes to freestyle. Now, I will say if you have a big gas tank and you're a run through the wall type person, that's what Brian Owens said in episode 2. He was like, yeah, like that might work for you a little bit more in folk style, like where you just are, a meathead and you just go and like, you can just find a way to score, 1 point and win 1-0 or something like that. But like it just reminded me earlier, you said you got teched in the semifinals in college, but like I was watching that match, like that was a close match. You know what I'm saying? Like you just got caught in a lace and the match is over. But like that's like I love freestyle in that perspective. And elaborate a little bit more. Give me some more why you like freestyle.
Well, real quick, London, Sam just said if you like folk style, you're a meathead. So let's just clip that part and then let all the hate go to Sam. Okay?
I like folk style too. I just think
and if you're watching this right now, you guys can go ahead and comment. What do you like more? And here's Coach Pete. Greco.
Greco's
Yeah.
not bad. Just
go ahead, London. Continue to elaborate.
Yeah, no, I think that freestyle is just it's high pace. I love takedowns. Like I love,
Oh no.
Yeah, well, this is what happens when you're out in Tacoma, okay? Like, the internet connection out there is just crazy. And I knew she was going to drop at some point. And now here's the problem. She's out in Tacoma. We don't know what happened to London, okay? I don't know what just happened to London.
First you're getting flowers dropped off on you, and then all of a sudden, you don't know what's going to happen next stop.
This is the problem with this place. I'll give her some time to maybe get back in, because what could have happened is her phone could have died, but I'll give her some time. But Sam, I think you need to elaborate a little bit more on why freestyle or Greco or no, folk style. Excuse me.
Well, as a coach, we're just, that's where I'm at right now, right? And we got people tuning in. We got people on this podcast that are coaches too, right? Like when we get to freestyle season, that's when you get all the, like, this is what Brian was talking about. You get all of the hungry wrestlers that are just like, and Brian said this too. He's like, you'd never know what their goals are necessarily. They could
London,
just
are you back?
London's back. Yeah, sorry. My sister keeps calling me.
Oh, well, thank God that's all it was, because I'm telling you, we were a little nervous. We were a little nervous about it.
You got people coming up to the driver door with flowers, and then we don't know if something else happened or whatever. But
I protect myself.
Yeah, right. I'm not worried about you, but if Sam was out there on the corner of the street, we'd be. No, I'm just joking. Sorry. Hold on, London. I asked Sam a question in your absence, Sam.
Oh, no, I'll wrap it up. I'm talking about me again, as I always do. But as a coach, I like coaching freestyle. And the women's wrestling is different a little bit, right? Because you guys are all wrestling freestyle in college already. Like, so it's cool. I think that the men should be doing that too, in my opinion. But, when I'm getting into freestyle season, that's when for the boys, that's when you get all the hungry wrestlers, the ones who, I don't care if you're JV or who you are, you step into the freestyle room, you're ready to throw. And I don't have to worry about X, Y, and Z when it comes to coaching you, because you're already coming in here doing extra. And so for me as a coach, that's why it's awesome. But then as a competitor, London, like we already talked about this, there's a little bit more athleticism. There's throws, there's like high level highlights and stuff and moves. Like you expand your network of all these moves that you can do. We can do all the folk style moves in the world that we want to do, right? As a freestyler, right? But then we get to do throws, then we get to soup people, we get fives and all that stuff. So that's where I'm coming from on that. I don't know. What do you think, Matt?
I am a folk style. I'm a folk style guy. I just think and you know what? I'm going to go ahead and allow the hate to funnel to you, Sam. Maybe one day I'll allow my take to come on here, but no way.
We know we got our haters. It's all right.
You already got some fiery people that are going to hate on you for that. But all right, we got about 5 minutes left, London. We're going to hit you with some rapid fire questions if you're down.
Oh, okay. I'm scared.
Okay, post-tournament meal. Post-tournament meal. Like, what's the go-to meal?
Like a nice bacon burger.
A nice bacon burger. Okay.
So
now,
tough.
Is there like a certain place or just a bacon burger? Throw it to me with bacon on it.
where you're at, because sometimes you're out in the middle of nowhere. Like, you take what you can get.
That's true. Okay.
Yeah, Naperville, Illinois, or wherever you're out in there in Tennessee or wherever, right?
Now, what about like the post weigh-in snack? Like, what's the first quick item that's going down?
I feel like I don't really eat too much at a tournament, so like I always go for Gatorades or like whatever they have in the cooler. So buy like a ham sandwich, and that's it. That's all I eat.
Yeah. I'll tell you this unpopular opinion, Sam, just to let people, I'm not a cream cheese bagel guy. That's what they try to put in those coolers all the time. I'm like, gross, get this away from me. I'd take power bars over that, right? London's agreeing with me. All right, pre-match routine. What gets the juices flowing?
So I used to listen to music, and I realized that makes me anxious. So now I just don't listen to music, and I just observe all the people around me, and like, I don't know, it just calms me down. So.
I love that. You're like a unicorn out there, not with no headphones on.
No headphones. No.
Can I tell a funny story actually? And for the Instagram viewers, the live cuts off at an hour. If we end up running over an hour, just tune into our YouTube. I found that's the easiest way to go because we are live on YouTube as well. But I'll tell you this funny story. So our state champ in high school, I'm like, what are you listening to? Right. So I go and I take his AirPod or ear, back then we didn't have the AirPods. They were on the cable back then, but I pick it up and it's like A, B, C, 1, 2. I was like, what the? Because I'm telling you, that wasn't my vibe, but I tell you, so I think I can get what you mean. Some people, some music might just, make them anxious, so maybe there's some other, but when you were listening to music, London, did you have a favorite walkout song, or maybe you do for your duels or whatever?
Yeah, it would be London Bridge by Fergie.
Oh, there we go. With the name recognition.
Love that. Fergie.
I always kind of wondered that, when you got somebody with a name like a place, and then there's a somebody with that name or a song with that name.
Yeah,
gets the vibes rolling here. Okay, I'm gonna end our Instagram video just so it don't cut off, but tune into our YouTube here, guys. So, all right, we're done there.
Don't steal my question here, Matt. I don't want you to steal my question.
Go ahead.
This one's mine because I'm turning. Well, actually, Matt's probably a bigger sneakerhead than I am now.
Okay, relax.
But yeah, he's my plug, my new plug. But so wrestling shoes. What are you rocking right now? And what brand? What shoe do you like? Or what shoe do you like? A follow up question. What shoe was your favorite shoe that you've ever had?
So I wore Nike Freaks like all through high school, the red and white ones, and I got a pair like the end of high school. So I've worn those a little bit in college season. I got these custom shoes for my brother, so it has like a liver cancer logo on it, and then the Eiffel Tower. His name's Paris, so Eiffel Tower on it. So I just rep him out there. I love those shoes. So
I'm so glad I asked that. That's tough. Shoes. Nice. So you're a Nike girl.
Yeah, Nike. Uh-huh.
Nice. I'm kind of, at first, like I was not a Nike guy at first. I just wanted to go buck the trend. But then, back in the days when the colleges had like the team logo on those Nike shoes back in the day, and I forget what the shoe was, like the name of the shoe.
Yeah.
The Inflix, I think.
Inflix. Now they got the was, so they'd be.
Or like the takedowns or something like that. I forget what it was, but they had, we went to ASU wrestling camp, and, Cain Velasquez was there. Ryan Bader was there, these UFC champions and stuff. And it was a real cool experience. And the coach ended up giving me one of his ASU Nikes, and that's what I wore my senior year. And ever since I put those on, I'm like, wow, they got heel support in these. And I was just like, so I support Nike now all the time. I've wore lots of other shoes. I just don't feel like the heel support is there, but maybe I shouldn't be on my heels so much, right?
The blast double's a little tougher. It's a little quicker,
Way blast. So is there a favorite move you like to hit, London?
I just say like leg attacks, like double leg, single leg, like sweep single. Just I'm always on my offense. I mean, that's how you score points. So that's what I like to do.
That's uniquely enough, that's the three people I think we've asked are two. Yeah, the offset leg attacks, like low single specifically, or that's what
I think she said sweep single when I saw your post Fargo interview. You like that sweep single, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. No, we've been like we've had Trey and Justice and London on now, and I feel like all Coach Pete sweep single.
Coach P's going crazy in the comments. I love it. I love it.
We've had like literally all three of our guests so far have been really like, if you just look back on like watching them, like the thing that sticks out is just neutral. And I was watching London, I was like, holy mackerel, like especially your Fargo's final match was just like, you're an attacker on your feet and you do not shy away from going in on those legs like nonstop. So is the sweep the favorite or is it anything?
I don't know. I feel like sweeps are always good. I think sweeps are always like a safer option than a double leg. I mean, obviously double leg, you can get stuffed easier. So I kind of just, whatever feels right, wherever my body takes me, I'm like, I'll do that.
Nice.
I don't know much about it. I just do it.
Oddly enough, chop and jam has not been listed as a favorite move. So oddly enough, yeah, exactly. Yeah. So London,
they're teaching that out in like Darrington or something. I don't know where that's
hey,
from.
don't.
Oh, we got Darrington guys at Ascend. Sorry.
Don't diss the Darrington team, okay? God, Sam, you are just on a roll here today. Who did you emulate your style around, London? Do you have a favorite wrestler or somebody that you kind of?
I think so. There was this one girl named Alexis Sapita. I think she's out of Oregon. She was a Fargo finalist before I was a Fargo finalist. I think it was my freshman year. Yeah, my freshman year. She just whooped everybody, like teched everybody. And I was just like, wow, like I want to be like her one day, like on the leg attacks, just fast. Yeah, so I think that's one person. Yeah, she's awesome.
I think that sometimes you kind of grow and emulate your style almost directly after the people that you really like look up to. I mean, obviously that is how it is naturally, but sometimes you're like, hey, I look up to Vito, but I ain't moving like Vito. You know what I mean? But Vito wasn't the guy I looked up to. I never actually looked up to those guys that were really fast because I was not very fast. So you know what I mean? And Sam, go ahead. I think we got one last question for her.
All right. We talked about this after Brian Owen left episode 2. And we were specifically touching on the girls. He's coaching Libby Roberts out there in the Northwest. And I want to just hear it from the source, somebody who's competing at the college level in women's wrestling. How good are we? You know, because what I see is that we're really good out here. And I think it was partly because we, sanctioned the sport first at the T-Dome. That had a big thing to do with it. But we also have a lot of good coaches out here. If we threw a D1 program together, how good do you think we'd be?
I think we would be really good. I mean, there's not very many West Coast schools. I mean, if I had the option to go to a nice school in Washington, I probably would have taken it. So I think if we just keep pushing and, fighting for that, I think a lot of people will be really excited for it. We can get some great coaches, some great wrestlers in the program. And I mean, I think the Washington's wrestling is, there's a big future behind it. So,
yeah, and you're
London,
from the what?
Houston would be the first coach, I think. I can see that.
Yeah, perfect.
My head coach.
Yeah, and you're from the West Side now. We asked Justice this, and it just seems like this is such a swing and a miss question every single time. But it's my favorite question because I'm a fan of all sports. I'm a big UW fan. I didn't go to UW. I get a lot of flack from Wazoo fans. You didn't go there. Whatever. I don't care. I'm from here. It's a Seattle. It's a Seattle sport to me. If you had to pick UW or Wazoo, tell us the answer. What'd you say? UW. All right. Thank you. Finally. Jeez, man.
Yeah, because Justice almost got kicked right off the podcast. Yeah. And then my last thing, London, is there you go, University of Washington Lady Huskies wrestling. Let's go. My last thing is, did you notice that you were in our intro video?
Yeah, I saw. I was literally looking at that. I was like, huh. like, that's me.
Yeah. Thank you to Sam for that
Yeah,
one.
we were looking for some good quality. You know how flow is or track is sometimes. Like, you can get a little grainy out there, but when it's Fargo and then when it's the U.S. Open, you can get some good quality stuff. And we got some national champions out here, you know, in the last 5 years, and you're one of them. So we threw you on there. Hope you don't mind. We didn't ask you, but it's a pretty good little clip. So hope you're all right with it.
And I
NIL money. Yeah, exactly. Whoops. Forgot to ask you.
Dang it. She's like, listen, I'm going to need 20 for this.
A podcast.
Yeah, I actually sent those flowers out to you. So,
Oh,
yeah, you're welcome for that. So, all right, London, we're going to let you go and let you get onto your day. But we really appreciate you coming on and being a guest and being our first female guest. Hopefully, you enjoyed the podcast and we represented you really well.
Get more females on here.
Hey, we're trying. Hey, out of the first 3 or 4, we got 1. So we're doing pretty good, I think.
We'll do our best.
If you had said no, we ain't got nobody in line. So
exactly.
No, just joking. But London, thank you for coming on. We'll let you kind of, how can everybody kind of tune into what you're doing? Can you rep your socials and some things that are important to you before you sign off?
Yeah, so my Instagram's London_Houston. I post a lot on there, if you can't tell. So if you want to follow any wrestling or camps that are going on, just check that out. Yep.
All right. Well, thank you so much. And we just really appreciate it. Sam, do you have anything left for her?
No, just, thank you so much for coming on. Like Matt said, first female guest, first college wrestler that we've had on. And, if we're talking about, somebody that people are looking up to in the state, not just boys and girls, you're doing it really big, going to Pan Ams, competing for world teams. And, you're still young, London. We wish you the best, and we wish you the best of health. Play that, hopefully that, your injury heals up right, and that we can just keep watching you do your thing. And if it's not wrestling, if it's coaching, whatever, like, we're just super excited to be plugged into you and your career, whatever it may be. So thank you so much for coming on. Appreciate it.
All right. You guys have a good night.
Yeah, thanks. And hey, will you come on again later?
I will.
Okay, dope. We didn't ruin it. So thank you. Okay, goodbye. We didn't ruin it, Sam. We did not ruin it. We treated her well, and she was great. She was really great. We thought we lost her. We thought we lost her, and who knows what could have happened, but thankfully she didn't. And what was a big takeaway there for you, my friend?
Man, she's just got such a good head on her shoulders, like, through quite a bit of adversity in her last couple years, and even what she was mentioning about in her first year of college, she's able to adjust so quickly, and she makes those tough decisions so quickly, and like it's a hard thing to do. We keep talking about how hard this sport is, mentally and physically, but the fact that she's just taking it one day at a time right now is great. And wish we would have started this earlier. We could have caught her when she was traveling internationally, but we don't anticipate this being the end of the road for her, and I don't think that she really anticipates this being the end of the road for her either. I know she's being very humble about it, but I just think that she is such a strong gal, and that there's a lot of young women in the state that should be looking up to her if they're not already. And I know that there's a lot of people looking up to her right now. So
yeah, it's definitely not the end of the road for us too, or the women here that will be traveling nationally that hopefully we can get on. And it's what's really cool about her is, one, she's approachable. It's kind of cool. It's like, how many dudes that want to go wrestle D1, that want to go and reach out to anybody that did it locally. It's like, well, maybe you can. There's not a lot of us that are wrestling D1 locally. Brennan, they're out there, but she's at such a high level, and I bet you, message her, she'll give you some advice. I think that's really cool, right? Because how many can do that?
Yeah, and she says she wants some more gals on. We're working on it, you guys. We are trying our best to get the people that you want on here, and we've been talking a lot about the girls as usual, just because they deserve it. They're in the finals at US Open, and winning national titles, which is, we didn't even touch on how good our ladies are out of the state wrestling in college right now, which they don't call it the NCAAs yet, but we got multiple what you would call NCAA national champions for the women right now coming out of the state. So we're trying to get them on. We got some stuff in the mix right now, nothing confirmed, but stay tuned. We're going to get some people coming on here that you guys are really going to like as well, just as much, if not better, than London. And yeah, we got some stuff coming down the pike that's going to be super exciting.
Well, we appreciate everybody for tuning in, and that is episode 4. We will be taking a little bit to just make sure that the next guest on is great and continues to be great for us. And we, like I said, just appreciate everybody for giving us a like, a follow, subscribe, just a view. If you have anything to say, comment on the videos, man. We're here to battle you on the rankings thing. It's coming, and we're happy to just, be the intermediary flows for information and content here at Washington Wrestling. So for Sam Otto, I am Matt. We will see you next time.